Good morning, sisters, brothers, and siblings. My name is Yvonne Wheeler, and I'm the president of the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor, representing over 800,000 union members across almost every industry in Los Angeles County. Welcome to the House of Labor. Today we gather in solidarity with the UFW Foundation and our immigrant farm workers, sisters, brothers, and siblings as they release the findings of Under the Sun and Out of the Shadows, a survey documenting the experiences of more than 2,250 farm workers during the second Trump administration. These findings are not just statistics. They are stories of courage, sacrifice, and resilience. They remind us that people who plant, harvest, and bring food to our tables deserve dignity, not fear. Here in Los Angeles County, we know all too well the devastating human cost of the cruel and inhumane immigration enforcement. Last summer, our communities became the epicenter of the unprecedented immigration raids. Families were torn apart, workplaces were targeted, fear was deliberately weaponized against hardworking people whose only crime was seeking a better way of life for themselves and their families. 4,000 National Guards and 700 Marines were deployed into our communities not to protect us, but to intimidate us. But let me be clear, the labor movement has always stood on the side of justice. We've always stood on the side of dignity. And we've always stand shoulder to shoulder with our immigrant workers. Because an attack on an immigrant worker is an attack on all workers. When workers are forced into the shadows, every workplace becomes less safe. Every worker's rights are weakened, and every community is diminished. Our movement has always understood a simple truth. The labor movement and the immigrant movement are inseparable. Many of our unions were built by immigrants. Our greatest victories have been won because workers stood together across every race, language, and country of origin. That solidarity remains our greatest strength. That is why we will continue to fight for humane immigration policies, an end to fear-based enforcement, and a meaningful pathway to citizenship for the millions of hardworking immigrants who make our communities stronger every single day. Working people deserve the freedom to earn a living with dignity, to organize it without fear, and to speak out without the threat of intimidation or retaliation. Together, with courage, solidarity, and unwavering determination, we will continue building a future where every worker, regardless of where they were born, is treated with dignity, respect, and justice. Thank you to the UFW Foundation for your leadership. Thank you to the courageous farm workers whose voices and experiences are reflected in this important report. And thank you to all for standing together in solidarity. Because when we defend immigrant workers, we defend the labor movement. When we defend the labor movement, we strengthen our democracy. And when we stand together, there is nothing working people cannot achieve. Si se puede. 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 Si se puede.
Thank you so much, President Wheeler, and to the LA County Federation for having us here today and hosting us. Y buenos días y muchas gracias a todos que están aquí, especialmente a los trabajadores del campo que nos acompañan, nuestros líderes. And thank you everybody here for being today in this briefing. My name is Erika Lomeli Corcoran, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the UFW Foundation. Before we begin today, I have a question to ask. If immigration is such a topical subject, then how can most academics and government researchers and policymakers ignore the very people whose lives are most directly affected by the Trump administration's immigration raids? Those in power often talk about and act towards undocumented farm workers as if they're not important. They are. They talk about undocumented farm workers as if they don't sacrifice their lives to bring a great wealth of food to all America and much of the world. They do. Finally, those in power so often talk about and act towards undocumented farm workers as if their voices don't matter. They do. Now today, it is my honor and privilege to announce release of this landmark UFW Foundation survey, Under the Sun and Out of the Shadows, the first comprehensive study conducted under rigorous standards that examines the concerns and fears, as well as the hopes and aspirations of those with most at stake, undocumented farm workers. Through this survey, undocumented workers are making their voices heard. Undocumented workers are saying they want protections for themselves and their families from detention and deportation. They want pro-labor policies in the agricultural industry to sustain. They want to keep working as farm workers and long to earn the safety and protections only genuine immigration reform can offer. We need to listen to what undocumented farm workers are thinking, feeling, fearing, and also importantly, hoping for. We hope this survey will shine a light so more researchers and those in power can better understand the fears, hopes, and aspirations of the most powerless and voiceless. Then perhaps undocumented farm workers who produce the greatest abundance of food the world has ever seen will themselves be seen and be treated like the important human beings they are. We hope this survey will help them come out of the shadows and into the light. The UFW Foundation was founded in 2006 to address the concerns and needs of farm workers and immigrant communities through immigration legal services, community organizing, legislative and policy advocacy, and so much more. Throughout that time, we have led campaigns for labor protections, provided emergency relief affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and assisted countless of immigrants, both adult and children, with free or low-cost immigration legal services. To ensure their safety, their security of the nation's food supply, and to provide human dignity for farm workers and immigrants, the UFW Foundation will continue fighting for the very workers who, although not always visible, are behind each of our meals. Now, we will be hearing from Jonathan Angulo, who is the author of our survey findings. We also have Alejandro Herrera, the senior research and data analyst who helped establish the methodology and data collection for the survey. And finally, we will be hearing from Yazmin, one of our farm worker leaders who participated in the survey. She is a resilient farm worker and the driving force behind our work. Yazmin has been actively engaged in various advocacy campaigns, and today she will share her story and speak to the real-life impact that immigration raids have had on her family and her community. We ask that you hold your questions until the end after all speakers are finished. Thank you. Voy a decir unas palabras en español. Muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí, a nuestros líderes campesinos que vienen de diferentes regiones de aquí de California. Hoy tengo el honor y el privilegio de anunciar la publicación de esta histórica encuesta de la Fundación UFW, Bajo el Sol y Fuera de las Sombras. El primer estudio integral realizado con rigurosos estándares metodológicos que examinan las preocupaciones y los temores, así como las esperanzas y aspiraciones de los trabajadores campesinos indocumentados. A través de esta encuesta, los trabajadores indocumentados están haciendo escuchar sus voces. Los trabajadores indocumentados nos dicen que quieren protecciones para ellos y sus familias frente a la detención y la deportación. Quieren políticas laborales que favorezcan los trabajadores en la industria agrícola que ellos mismos sostienen día tras día. Así que esperamos que esta encuesta dé luz sobre su realidad, más que investigadores y que ocupen posiciones de poder puedan comprender los temores, las esperanzas y las aspiraciones que quienes con demasiada frecuencia permanecen sin voz. Esperamos que esta encuesta les ayude a salir de las sombras y caminar hacia la luz. Gracias.
Good morning. My name is Jonathan Angulo. I'm a research and policy analyst and author of Under the Sun and Out of the Shadows. I also serve as an adjunct lecturer of ethnic studies at San Diego State University in Hero Valley. It has been my honor and pleasure to be the author of this first of its kind comprehensive survey on the fears, hopes, and aspirations of farm workers across the country. We are here today because farm workers throughout the United States endure significant hardships due to immigration enforcement. Yet most academic and government researchers and policymakers have had difficulty comprehensively serving the very people most directly affected and targeted by the Trump administration's immigration raids. We are uniquely positioned to do what others struggle to do. Due to the UFW Foundation's unique text messaging platform, we can comprehensively survey many agricultural workers. Thus, we can listen to farm workers on a large scale. Farm workers are vital members of our communities, the economy, and the agricultural sector. However, they are often treated as if their fears, aspirations, and concerns are not significant enough to be considered. Our survey changes that. Surveying undocumented farm workers is difficult for many reasons. For example, trust, accessibility, seasonal work, languages, fear of retaliation, among many other barriers to developing comprehensive data on farm workers. The UFW Foundation can do so because we provide vital services to tens of thousands of workers, many undocumented, across the United States. We are also one of the largest providers of immigration legal services in rural California. With organizers in California, Michigan, Georgia, and Washington State, we serve farm workers across the nation. To carry out this unique survey, the UFW Foundation drew upon its extensive farm worker database. 2,250 farm workers completed the survey and provided their consent to share their response. Many of them are undocumented. The most significant data points focus on employment, residency, labor skill, fear, family separation, and hope. Since Trump's immigration crackdown began in early 2025, farm workers expressed severe impacts on their employment. 92% of farm workers said that immigration raids and deportations have affected their employment. Several farm workers mentioned having to take days off during days of heavy enforcement. Additionally, 88% of farm workers fear detention and deportation. 61% have shopped less, and 29% have not sought medical attention. The rise of immigration raids and the mass deportation agenda have led to chilling effects. These percentages show how farm workers have withdrawn from the public. Farm worker families' everyday activities have changed due to increased immigration enforcement. Beyond their worries, farm workers have established lives for many years and decades in the U.S. For example, 80% have lived in the United States for more than 10 years. Of that, 41% for more than 20 years. And more than 40% have labored in agriculture for more than 20 years. And 43% have worked between 10 to 19 years. The data is clear. From the many years working in agriculture, they have become experts in highly skilled workers. They have also become long-term residents with deep roots in their communities. Despite their ties to this country, agricultural workers fear being separated from their loved ones. 90% worry about family separation due to deportations. Because many farm workers have built families and lives in the U.S., the roots they laid made it difficult to leave the country. Lastly, farm workers hope for genuine immigration reform and protections from immigration enforcement. 87% want to visit a family member in their country of origin after an immigration reform law. And 76% desire protections from deportation and detention. Legal status and a path to citizenship would protect farm workers and keep families together. It would also reconnect farm workers with their communities. Restoring ties between farm workers and the public ensures a stronger economy. This reform would benefit them, agricultural employers, and the country by having a secure food system. Despite the very real risk of arrest, deportation, and family separation, this survey reveals many undocumented workers aspire to fully participate in the country they so faithfully serve. Now we have data on the fears, hopes, and aspirations of farm workers. These survey findings expose the vulnerabilities of undocumented field workers, their families' humanity, and their enormous contributions to the U.S. agricultural economy and their communities. Despite the many fears and concerns farm workers have, they remain hopeful for a better future in the United States, including a better life for their family and generations to come. In a few minutes, you will hear directly from farm workers. They are here to make their voices heard because they matter. Thank you.
Good morning. Buenos días. My name is Alejandro Herrera. I serve as a senior research and data analyst for the UFW Foundation. For this survey, my role was to help establish a methodology and oversee the data collections and analysis behind the findings. It is my pleasure to be here with you today to talk about the process of the survey study. During the data gathering phase, the UFW Foundation shared a survey link to the response messaging program from June 27th to July 11th, 2025. Providing a 2-week window to gather responses from our universe of nearly 90,000 individuals who are currently subscribed. This universe is composed of farm workers, rural community members, and individuals who subscribed after receiving assistance or services from the UFW Foundation. In the survey, a screening question was included to ensure we only reported on responses from farm workers. While our sample is not random, we are confident that our non-probability sample allows us to learn as much as we can from farm workers who are living an experience that is ongoing. A total of 2,250 farm workers responded from over 16 different states, the majority of them living here in California. Protecting respondents' sensitive information was crucial. Respondents knew their confidentiality would be protected. To protect the identities of undocumented farm workers, part of the survey included language that informed each respondent of their right when completing the survey. The protection of their data through a password encrypted system, and the intended uses of their responses. A consent question was also included to ensure farm workers agreed to provide their information for use in our research. Participants were not asked about status or specific identifying questions such as names, addresses, or daily routines. Individual responses are confidential. Our analysis was conducted using a data set with de-identified responses to ensure the protection of farm worker identities. Our analysis relied on descriptive statistics. We calculated the frequencies and percentages behind the findings you heard about today. To summarize what farm workers shared with us, screening questions were also utilized to get as close as possible to farm worker status without jeopardizing their identities. In addition to these safeguards, respondents were not required to answer every question to guarantee they felt secure through the survey process. As expected, there were drop-offs on some questions as farm workers opted to skip some, which we anticipated due to the sensitive nature of this topic. The UFW Foundation also created a phone number where farm workers could reach out through phone call or text message should they wish to have their responses removed from the survey results. We are satisfied with the response rate, the diversity, and backgrounds of the survey respondents. This survey is one way we can understand how we can continue to help our communities move forward towards a better future. Thank you.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Yazmin. Soy una de las trabajadoras que completé la encuesta. Soy una de las voces de muchas personas que contestaron esto. Soy trabajadora y contestamos y confiamos en la UFLU Foundation.
Hi, good morning. My name is Yazmin, and I am one of the workers that responded to the UFW Foundation survey. We're here to make our voices be heard and because we trust the UFW Foundation.
He trabajado alrededor de 20 años y he vivido aquí más de 20 años.
I have worked in agriculture for nearly 20 years, and I've lived in the United States for more than 20 years.
También soy beneficiaria de DACA. En estos momentos estoy enfrentando retrasos con mi permiso de trabajo.
I'm also a DACA recipient, and right now I'm experiencing delays with my work permits. My husband is undocumented.
Mi esposo es indocumentado. Tengo 2 hijas que son ciudadanas estadounidenses.
My husband is undocumented, and I have 2 daughters who are U.S. citizens.
Estoy aquí porque son muchos de los trabajadores directamente que somos afectados mediante las redadas que han ocurrido.
I'm here because I'm one of the many workers directly impacted by the immigration raids going on.
Antes de que empezaran las redadas, solía salir con mis niñas al parque y a las librerías.
Before the raids started, I used to go out to the library and to the park to go on walks.
Ahora ya no lo hago y trato de cuando salgo estar alerta.
Now I don't go out, and when I do, I try to be alert.
Solo salimos en lo absolutamente necesario para hacer las compras de la comida.
We only go out when it's absolutely necessary. When we do go out, it's mostly for necessities and to buy groceries.
Unos días fue el cumpleaños de mis hijas, 2 gemelas de 11 años. Lamentablemente no las pude llevar a ningún lado por miedo a salir.
The other day was our daughter's 11th birthday, and we couldn't celebrate out of fear of going out.
Me preocupa mucho la separación de mi familia ahora, no sé qué va a pasar.
Family separation worries me a lot. I don't know what's going to happen.
Vivo con estrés, incertidumbre y miedo.
I live with stress, uncertainty, and fear.
Mi familia y yo hemos tenido que hacer cambios. También hemos tenido que hacer un plan familiar.
My family and I have had to make changes, and we've also had to implement a family plan.
Incluso he tenido que hablar con mis hijas acerca de lo peor que puede pasar.
I've even had to have conversations with our daughters about what could possibly happen.
Ellas son pequeñas y no saben lo que está pasando, pero trato de conversar con ellas y tener un plan.
They're small and they don't really understand what's happening, but I try to talk to them and make sure we have a plan.
Creo que la mayoría de los trabajadores están igual que yo.
I think most workers are just like me.
Las redadas migratorias han afectado mi empleo porque tengo temor a salir a trabajar.
The immigration raids have impacted my employment because I'm afraid to go out to work.
Cuando salgo a trabajar, tengo miedo a no llegar a casa y volver a ver a mis hijas.
When I leave to work, I'm afraid to not come home and to never see my daughters again.
Sabiendo que los vehículos de inmigración están parándonos y también ya no confío ni en la policía. Tengo miedo al ir a trabajar al saber que me pueden parar en cualquier momento y no saber qué hacer.
Knowing that they're stopping us on our way to work, I'm even afraid of police now, to not know what might happen when I leave home to work.
No sé si regresaré a mi casa después de trabajar.
I don't know if I will make it back home after work.
Los agentes están usando máscaras, no sé realmente quiénes sean, no sé si sean ellos o sean secuestradores o quizás sea una persona que me está siguiendo. Realmente tengo miedo.
ICE agents are wearing face masks. We don't know who they really are. We don't know who really is following us, and that really causes a lot of fear.
Tener un camino hacia la ciudadanía cambiaría mucho para mí, para mi familia, significaría mucho para mí, para mi esposo, podríamos darle un mejor futuro a nuestras hijas.
Having a pathway to citizenship would mean a lot for me. It would change a lot for me and my family, and it would make sure that my husband and I could give a better life for our daughters.
Tendría estabilidad, algo que en este momento no lo tengo.
I would finally have stability, something that right now I don't have.
No puedo comprar una casa porque en cualquier momento me pueden sacar.
I can't even buy a house because at any given moment they could deport me.
Espero y escuchen mi historia, pueden comprender un poco de lo que vivimos día a día, los trabajadores afuera, la incertidumbre y el miedo.
I hope that by listening to my story you can understand a little bit of what farm workers are going through, the fear, the uncertainty, and what we're going through every day.
Somos personas honestas que solo estamos trabajando para poder proveerle comida a nuestras familias y somos personas de dignidad.
We're good people who are only working, who are only doing the best to provide for our families, and we want to be able to take care of our families with dignity.
Agradezco que escuchen mi historia y esta es una de muchas historias que están pasando afuera en los files y cualquier otra persona que está en mi misma situación. Gracias.
Thank you for listening to my story. This is just one of the many stories that farm workers are living, what we're experiencing outside of the fields, and I thank you for listening.